Hey, Mike Edwards here, coming to you from my coaching cave in Kitchener, Waterloo. And I'm here with my friend Joanne.
Yeah, in my coaching cave. I wish I was the coaching cave. It's actually a temporary space while my daughter from BC is here. So I'm in my bedroom. Woohoo!
That's awesome. And isn't that the reality of the pandemic these days, right? We're
Oh my
trying to
gosh.
find places.
Oh my gosh. We have so many people working from home, one downstairs in the kitchen, and she keeps moving around with all the noise. And yes,
Mhm.
it is the situation we're in.
It totally is.
Yeah.
Which actually makes me think that's like the perfect segue or introduction into our topic
Oh yeah, it is.
of what we wanted to talk about.
Sure.
I've been talking about this for a few days now out in social media, and
Yeah.
Joanne and I kind of picked up on it, but it's this idea of perfection
Yeah. Yeah.
as
Yeah.
as daughter peeks in the door.
I know. That happens. I'm just sitting here and I go, maybe again, I
Right,
don't
right.
know.
But I think it's perfect because
Right.
here this idea of perfection,
Yeah.
or more accurately, giving yourself permission to be imperfect, right,
Yeah.
is so empowering. And
Oh,
and and I just had something that happened yesterday, which I thought would be a funny story to kind of lead into this.
okay.
I went out and I recorded a video because I'm doing, whether it's Facebook Live or recording a video like this, I'm doing daily posts, as I know you're doing as well.
Yes. Yes.
So I go out and I thought, well, I'm going to record this instead of doing Facebook Live, and then I'll post it later. And I went to post it on Facebook, and I didn't notice it until somebody commented, but it actually posted upside down. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. I saw it last night. It was great. Like, ooh, this is
Which
great marketing stuff. I think it was perfect.
oh, here's the funny thing. I did try to correct it. I could not find a way. The video looks normal everywhere
Yeah.
else. It's only on Facebook. For whatever reason, it's upside down. I even
Yeah.
posted it twice. It was once off in a different group in
Yeah.
my wall.
Yeah.
Both times it's upside down. So no clue what's going on.
Yeah.
But at some point, which is probably driven by it's evening and I'm going, I just went, fine, it's an upside down video. But here's the important thing: by letting go of the need to get that right,
Yeah.
the perfection type thing, and
Yeah.
allowing it to be imperfect,
Yeah.
I'm actually getting more response, more traffic. People are saying just because it was upside down, they're actually watching the whole 4 minutes. Like,
Well, what keeps coming up for me when you're talking, and actually even with my daughter coming in, and there's somewhat of a control, right? Like you like for perfection, you want to kind of control the situation, right? Like with that, I'm going, oh, maybe I needed to put a sign on my door. I need to do this thing so they don't come in. I need to control what's going on, right? And it's like if you let go of that, right? You totally let go of it. Like it doesn't matter so much. So and it's interesting, right? Like at nighttime, you kind of like, ah, fuck it. You kind of like, it is what it is. I'm not going to worry about it, all that stuff. And you let it go. And it's also letting go of that control, I think, too, right?
yeah,
There's a bit of control, and it comes up for me as control.
yeah,
But
yeah. Which kind of like perfection,
yeah.
control's an illusion. Right?
Oh,
Like, can we
yes, it
truly
is.
control?
No.
Right?
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
opposed to how you and I have been taught in our leadership training,
Yeah.
rather than trying to control it, why not create from whatever happens?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So this upside down video, right?
Yeah.
Create from it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And and it seems to be working. So who knows? Maybe I'll do more upside down videos on purpose.
Well, the thing is, and the whole thing was about made up, right? It was all about made up. Oh, everything's all made up.
Yeah,
That's the video was, right? And
yeah.
so, like, isn't even perfection a made up thing, right? Like,
Mhm.
we make up that particular thing called perfection. Um,
Mm,
and so, and even control, we do the same thing too. So it's what's our definition of it? What does it give us? Like, just let it
yeah,
go. It's
yeah.
just let it go.
totally agree with you that perfection is made up. I
Yeah,
wasn't thinking about that, but it's so true.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
what's perfect?
yeah,
Right? It's a story that we're creating.
yeah. And can just enough be okay, or is there a certain level that's okay or not okay? Like, does it matter if it's okay or not okay? It's like it's really interesting. And I know when you were started to talk about perfection, I started to put in this comment of grasping, right? Like it's like we're grasping for this thing. And that seems to be a new term that I'm playing with lately too, is this whole aspect of grasping to do something. It's almost like your ego is trying to, grasp control on you, right? In a way,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just feels like, if I'm trying to go for perfection or anything like that, that my body is trying to grab, or I'm trying to grab onto and grasp onto something, right?
Right.
And if I can let go of that, how freeing it is. Like I did it the other day. It's just like let go of not knowing what you need to know. Just kind of
Yes.
go in there and see what happens. Do you have
Right.
enough to start? Yeah, I think so. Okay, then go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost rather than trying to grasp for perfection, it's grasping for imperfection to
Mm,
just like whatever happens is good
mm-hmm,
enough.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that
Yeah.
doesn't make for a great dramatic story for me if I'm grasping for imperfection.
But it can be a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, it's upside down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And you just made me think of our friend Jason Little.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah,
talk
yeah, yeah.
about somebody who's not afraid to just try stuff and see
Yeah,
what happens,
totally not. Totally not.
right? And he just goes. And I know there's been times I'm like, what are you doing? But it works, right? Maybe not all the time. I doubt it works all the time, but it
Yeah,
really works for him.
yeah, yeah.
So so I'm curious, how do you know you're caught up in perfection, trying to make it perfect?
I find that it feels like I get worried, or I start to go into circles, or I start overthinking. Like overthinking is probably one. Like I was doing this the other day when I'm doing my Facebook Live, right? I
Mhm.
was like, okay, what am I going to talk about? What are you going to talk about? You got to make sure, like, what are you going to talk about? What are you going to talk about? And I'm trying to make sure that I have a solution and I have all the steps. I can hear the stories and the wheels going in my head, right?
Mm,
Did you do this? What's going to happen when it's like I'm planning it all out, and then it's just like, let go. You don't know. Let's play with not knowing and seeing what comes up, right?
mhm.
And and so that was kind of cool. Like it was neat to kind of get out there and do it. I mean, it was neat to sit there and say, let go, like put that down,
Yes,
and see what arose from that. But it's a very difficult thing to drop, like, and just to be within the space, right? So
absolutely. Yeah,
I
there's a
totally
lot of
understand.
human emotions and
Yeah,
worries and ego and everything that comes up that
yeah,
makes you go, no, no, you have to figure this out before you hit that live button.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I know
and
exactly what you're saying.
oh yeah, even yeah. There's that brief 1 or 2 seconds. It's like, no, no, damn it, boom. It feels like me just jumping into cold water, or to the lake or something like that, right? So
Mm,
it's very similar, but you do it. Um, and there's some people that are just like, you feel actually it's a that they're almost what's the word? It's not freezing or frozen, but you feel like you're strapped down, right? Like you
mm.
can't move,
Yeah,
until you've kind of got it all figured out,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um, and I think you're right. Like, and I don't know about you, but I think everyone may have a different way of understanding or knowing what that sensation of perfection is, right?
Mhm.
And to be able to look at it, oh, okay, this is what it is. Like this is what triggers it, or this is something that I can note for next time. But for
Yes.
you, what do you start to feel for perfection? I'm curious about you and your
It,
trigger
it's
for perfection.
it's almost the exact same type of thing.
Oh,
And it generally comes with things I'm trying for the first time. So
ah,
so like the Facebook Live, right?
yeah,
Like I'm really trying to do working on doing a daily Facebook Live. And so it's new, right? Like
yeah,
I haven't had that experience a lot in the
yeah,
past. Done a lot of speaking and a lot of teaching, but the
yeah,
idea of going live, because even the way we're doing this is
yeah,
easier because it's recorded. And at
yeah.
the end, we could go, nah, delete.
Yeah,
Right? But Facebook Live, it's vulnerable. It's out there. You don't
yeah.
know,
And
right?
anyone could pop in at any time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what? So the one thing that I guess, and I know we have a short time left, but the one thing that there's something right about perfection. That there is, I
Mm,
don't want to make perfection wrong, right? And it's saying that people shouldn't have something of that, but there's a certain rightness of it. And what keeps on going through my mind, because this is one of the topics, of course, that's coming up for me, is this discipline, right? There's just like for me, if I don't have that sense of perfection, I can go into all these things without anything and just blah, whatever, and it may not produce the value, right? That it was intended.
mhm.
So so like here I am, there has to be, which is a grasp statement. Totally. There has to be something. No, there doesn't have to be. This is Joanne talking to herself in the bedroom all the time. Yes, no, yes. But I feel that there is something that's right about it. There's a bit of right about it, a bit of wrong about it, and everyone can take it. But and we don't talk about that necessarily too. I don't want to spend a huge amount of time in that, but what are your thoughts of that?
Yeah, I think you're pointing to something really important, like
Yeah,
holding on to perfection as a bad thing could actually create um, actually more churn, more problems,
yeah,
right? Um, so what was coming up for me as you were talking there is it's not so much about having the perfect answer forever and ever.
yeah,
It's doing something perfect today. So, I painted my office quite a few years ago. If it turned out and it looked perfect,
yeah,
right? And I held myself to a standard of, not hitting the ceiling too many times and correcting that when I did, and,
yeah,
doing nice even coats and so on and so forth, right? And
yeah,
it looked perfect at the time.
yeah,
The cool part is, and I think this applies to everything,
yeah,
if a year later I'm going, I could up that.
yeah,
It didn't make the last thing wrong.
yeah,
It just, I've shifted, I've changed, I've improved my skill at painting, I've
yeah,
whatever it is, and I'm
yeah,
going to repaint it,
yeah.
right?
Well,
And
it's something you learn from. It feels like, right? It's like at that point in time, it was that good enough. It was that for what I needed for that particular point in time, it was good enough, right?
yeah, I'm not
Um,
good enough from a compromise point of view. It truly
yeah,
is good
yeah,
enough.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think when I look at it, at what comes up for me is this aspect of perfection, having that thing come up to me about, oh my gosh, you're spinning and there's perfection. Letting
Mhm.
go of it is a great thing, but also noting, is it telling me something that it's like, just can you just make sure you've done this couple one or two things, so you've set it off right? Like, is it or is it giving me this be alive feeling? Like, is it giving me some sort of gift that when I walk into the conversation, that it helps me be more present, for example.
Right.
I don't know, but there's something that's coming up for me in terms of it, to say it is this feeling that it is something you don't want it to overwhelm you and stop you from doing the great things that you can do. There's a certain aspect, if there's too much of it, it's like too much sugar or too much salt, right? But
Or
yeah.
caffeine.
Or caffeine. I don't know about you, and I'm on my second cup today. But you know what I mean? Like, I think if there's too much of it, it's a bad thing. But if there's just a little bit of it, is there something okay with it? Or and so that's what's it's interesting. I'm just trying to play with that.
Wow.
That's one of the topics
that to me was a real gem right there.
hmm
And I'm thinking, why don't we leave it with that?
Yeah,
Leave that
perfect.
question with people,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because each one of us is going to look at how much is enough
yeah,
differently.
yeah, for sure. Sure.
And so,
hmm
take it as a
Yeah,
question.
yeah, love it, love it. Cool.
Joanne, this was
Yeah,
so much fun.
yeah, me too. I liked it a lot. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on and being imperfect with me.
I love being imperfect.
So,
Thank you.
Joanne, if people are looking for you, how can they find you?
LinkedIn is the best way to kind of find me. Right now, I'm trying to set up a couple different websites, but right now, LinkedIn is the best place.
Awesome. So,
Yeah,
Joanne Stone on LinkedIn,
yeah,
or on Facebook. I know you're there too.
yeah. I am there too, and I
Yeah.
use LinkedIn. Yeah, so both. But I don't want anybody seeing my Facebook Live, so don't join me on Facebook. You just stay on LinkedIn. Over there. There's
No,
some
let's go
perfection
join
there.
her on Facebook Live.
All right,
So
cool.
awesome. And
Yeah,
if
thank you.
anybody's looking for me, like Joanne, you can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn. You can also find me at my website at leadingforchange.ca.
Yeah,
Thanks
wonderful.
again, Joanne.
You're
So much
welcome.
fun.
Thank you. Yeah, loved it. Thanks. Bye.